If you watch my videos regularly, you'll know that I've never been the biggest fan of Zia Yusuf of the Reform Party. I've always had suspicions about him, don't particularly trust him, haven't particularly liked him, and the same goes for Richard Tice as well. My take on the Reform Party is that they are the best that we have in terms of the best hope we have, but I don't necessarily fully trust them. However, I think we do need drastic and dramatic change to have any chance of turning this country around. And so currently at the moment, they have my support. However, as of last night, I'm sort of warming to Zia Yusuf slightly. Did you see his performance on BBC Question Time last night? The BBC continue to go from disgrace to disgrace. So literally in the last 24 hours, Nigel Farage ripped them a new rear hole in terms of their behaviour towards him, their accusations against him, and the hypocrisy of the fact that they are accusing him of doing things and saying things back in the 1970s, when at the very same time they were running mainstream TV shows week after week after week, like the Black and White Minstrel Show, which used blackface, like It Ain't Half Hot Man, which also used blackface and rampant homophobia, etc., as well as a whole host of other programs. So Nigel Farage took great umbrage with them. And then the BBC went one step further last night, because in the audience they placed some illegal migrants and allowed them to ask questions. And from other photos and other indications, it appears that at least one of these migrants may have been wearing an earpiece and certainly had notes on a phone, and their questions sounded very scripted. But the upshot of one of those questions, Fiona Bruce turned to Zia Yusuf and said, "So, based on Reform's policy, are you saying that if Reform got to power and won the election, that you would deport this man, the illegal migrant sitting in the audience?" That's a very difficult question to say in front of a million people watching on TV and a live audience. And to his credit, he didn't bottle it in the least bit. He basically said, "Our policy is to deport all illegal migrants, illegal immigrants. And yes, therefore, I would deport this man." And you heard a sharp intake of breath, a few sort of boos and hisses in the audience, because the BBC audience, their planted audience, their chosen audience, don't like things like that being pushed in front of them. They don't like to be confronted with truths like that. But the truth of the matter is, if you enter the country illegally, then you should be deported. And Zia Yusuf didn't bottle it. He stuck to his guns and he said yes. And he has to be credited for that, because there are very few politicians, I think, around now, very few people in any of the political parties that would be ballsy enough, upfront enough, and straightforward enough to just come out and say that, particularly in front of the man that it was going to affect, i.e., the illegal immigrant, and particularly in front of a chosen BBC audience, and particularly in front of somebody with as much clout in media world as Fiona Bruce seems to have. So, as I say, still not 100% sure that I trust him, still not 100% sure that I necessarily believe Reform are going to deliver what they say they're going to deliver, but they are absolutely the only party we can get behind at the moment. If Ben Habib and the Advance Party start to really take off and really grow, or if Rupert Lowe joins another party and he starts to take off and really grow, then that may change. But the landscape at the moment is it's Reform or nothing. And so they get my full backing. And so whilst I don't necessarily have some trust for Zia Yusuf, I do have a little bit more respect for him for coming out and saying what we all believe to be true.